Quick question number 2. What's your name? What's your question?
My name is Catherine. So I've been married for about 7 years now. My question is more directed towards Kitty. There was a couple of weeks ago on a podcast, there was a young lady who came up who, I guess, like, got engaged, and then like a few months later, he broke up with her. And the main takeaway from that was you said his rejection is God's protection. I'm here asking, does that still apply to married people? Context. My husband gave me divorce papers about 2 weeks ago. And so I'm in a weird place right now where I still definitely want to fight for my marriage, and that I feel like it's something that's easily repairable, and he is just done. I don't know.
I'm sorry that you.
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah, I'm sorry that you're going through that. If he made a decision, you have to allow that to be his decision, and you can't punish yourself for that, because God's not going to punish you for somebody else's decisions. But I do understand that that hurts you right now. If I may ask, why is he filing for divorce?
Essentially, he just feels like we're not compatible.
Would you have rather a person feel like you all were not compatible, and years down the line, you all have no type of intimacy, no conversation, no friendship in a marriage, and the marriage is just in a place of marital distress? Would you have preferred to have that just for the sake of keeping him?
I mean, not necessarily. So if I'm being honest with you, that's kind of where we were. But we went through, like, from the moment that we got together, we went like on a debt-free journey. So I'm just gonna be honest. Like, we were very, like, sacrificing very hard. Like, I was working 2 jobs. We were, like, just really, really focused on, like, being debt-free. Mm-hmm. So in my head, I was like, okay, I'm not necessarily happy right now, but I thought, like, okay, once we reach this goal, like, it'll get better. We'll be able to go out and spend time together. We'll be able to go, you know,
when y'all first married, did y'all bring God into that marriage?
See, okay. We had been, no, listen. So I was raised up in the church, and so we were friends like 6 years before we even got together. So I introduced him to Christ even as friends, him and my family. And so when we started dating, that was something that came up that I felt like that may be an issue. But I was counseled in the fact of that I cannot hold him responsible for things that he just doesn't know. And that, yes, if we're both believers, then we are equally yoked and we can grow together.
I don't hear where God gave you a yes.
You were right. I was 21 and
I understand.
Stuck in lust.
And I understand it, but that's the thing. When God is not at the center of your marriage, it's going to fail.
Absolutely.
Both people have to be centering God in the marriage. It can't just be one person and the other person is not doing so, because it'll be imbalanced.
Yeah.
So in this context, it still does apply. If God was not in the center of your marriage and both of you all were not bringing God back into the center or trying to get him to the center, God allowed it to unfold because he was never a part of the plan to begin with. When we do things outside of God's will and when we do things by our own will and our own plan, it is destined to fail because that is not the way that God wanted it to be to begin with. I know it hurts, but because you're using that equally yoked very loosely. I don't hear where you are were equally yoked. I'm not hearing it just based off of what you just described. And I don't think people understand the spiritual nature of being equally yoked. And I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole right now. Mm-hmm. But what I will say to you right now, because I know you're hurting, and I know it's hard for you to actually receive this, maybe you can pray that God reveals the things that you cannot see. Maybe you can do that because right now your heart's hurting. And when you're hurt, you can't see what God is doing. We may not ever understand God's plan. We may not ever understand God's timing. But if God says that it was never supposed to be that to begin with, he's going to make sure that it's not that. And if you keep on going back, that's going to be your own destruction. Mm-hmm. What's your prayer life like?
I mean, at this point, we hear. But I will admit that being that I did allow his leadership, the lack of covering, to let me kind of fall back, even when it comes to, I was very active in serving and things along those lines. And I know that when you're single, God is saying, like, you can, fully just serve the kingdom of God. And I desire to be submissive. So, like, I was very much so just trying to follow his lead and follow like the things that he wanted to do. And I do realize that eventually, like I did over time, just kind of loose.
Well, I don't know who he was submitting to. I don't know if he was
He
submitting
was
to God
not.
or what.
I do know that.
Then
he
it
was
wasn't
not
going to be
submitted to
appropriate
God.
leadership to begin with then, baby. I know that this hurts right now, but God is near the brokenhearted. So he is right there in your brokenheartedness right now where you are hurting. God is right there. You just keep him there. You stay in prayer, get in your word, slowly meditate and read the scripture so that way you can get closer and more intimate with God. Because in this moment, that's exactly where you need to be. Accept it as what it is. As painful as it is, God is going to walk you through it. That is your shepherd. He is going to walk you through it, and he is never going to leave your side because God is faithful and he is a covenantal God. So whatever his promises were, he is going to fulfill those promises. I always say where God made a promise, he made a way. So if he promised you something, he has a way for you as well. So even in the moment of this divorce, I know it is hurting, but you keep God's commands and you stay at his feet. God bends down whenever you are crying, and he counts your tears and he counts your sorrows and he bottles those up and he keeps those. So you pray to God for God to count your tears and reveal to you the things that he needs to work in you on, okay? I know it's painful, baby. Get in that prayer closet and cry. Let it out, because whatever you sow in tears, you'll reap in joy. And on the other side, there is joy, baby.
Appreciate it. Thank you for your question.
Ooh-wee. We got another one. She been married to her husband for 7 years, but 2 weeks ago, he said, hey, I'm giving you the divorce papers and whatnot. But it sounds like, they weren't equally yoked and some situations was popping. I mean, what you thinking?
Woo-wee. Well, Kitty, she was like really asking some good questions. Seemed like this young lady really didn't bring Christ into the center of this. Mm-hmm. He seemed like he may have not even been a God ordained man for her. Mm-hmm. It seemed like she kind of went about this on her own. All she can do at this point is to pray. That's the only thing she can do. It's pretty sad that, she lost her relationship with Christ being in this marriage, What you got to say?
No, I agree. To me, it sounds, it's obviously 7 years, it's a long time, but it sounds like it's a blessing low key. I've always said, anybody who causes you to lose your relationship with Christ is not the person that you're supposed to be with. That could be friends, relationships, whatever. If they making your relationship with Christ go way off to the left or somewhere else and they not helping you stay on course, that ain't where you need to be at the end of the day. So it sounds like she just jumped the gun, like all of us wanted to be married but didn't seek the Lord. And in situations like you got, I think people underestimate the power of prayer, obviously, but the power of, if you ask the Lord a question, it's allow him to answer and give you direction. Because when we was together, I know I was praying and asking 20 billion times over and over, and I know the Lord was tired of me, but I wanted to make for sure that this was who my wife was. I asked him to confirm it through people, all different types of stuff, which the Lord did, which is why it was very clear to us very early. But if you're not, having that prayer life and listening and, asking the Lord for those different signs and different things to let you know, and you just jumping the gun anyway, come on now. We need to do better, people. We need to just do better. What you think?
I feel it. Yeah, I was the same way. When you was asking the Lord, is she the one? I'm asking him too. Is he the one? And if he not, remove him immediately. Please, Lord, remove him. Sometimes you just gotta, get over what you want and see what you need, and the Lord, he will remove a person real quick. If they not for you, he will move them out of the way. It's up to you to take heed. We be trying to hold on like, no.
It's true.
I remember before I met you, I dated this one guy, and I thought that we would maybe get married. And the Lord showed me that he was not the one. That man told me, I don't want my kids in church. During an argument, that's what he told me. And I knew at that moment that was the Lord showing me this ain't it. he's not my son right now. So Joel, what you gonna do? Is you gonna leave and go where I want you to go, or what you gonna do? You gonna stay? I said, I'm going with you, Lord. I don't want that man. I'll cut that thing off. I'm like, nope, I'm good. I want my kids in church, and I loved the Lord, and that was when I was first starting to follow him and starting to go to church and starting to pray every night and just getting closer to him. And he showed me that man wasn't it, and I cut it off. So sometimes you just gotta, listen to the Lord and cut that person off.
It's true.
If need be.
Yeah, it'll save you a lot of time in the long run by, not being in them situations. I've been there plenty of times too, getting into situations I ain't had no business in. Then a year or whatever later, you be like, dang, I should have just listened. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, just listen to the Lord, pray, seek him, do what you got to do. Her in this situation, sounds like she got the divorce papers and whatnot. So yeah, I agree. Just keep praying. See what the Lord got to say, and maybe this is his will for you at this particular point. If it's meant to be turned around, then it will be, but ultimately that's all in the Lord's hands at this point.
It's true. All right, y'all, that's the video. Go check out stamps-tv.com if you haven't already. So many shows, so much content on there. Go check it out now.
Yep, and while you're on there, go ahead and visit that Shop Stamps Apparel tab. We got t-shirts just like these on there, crew necks, hoodies, jogger sets, all different types of stuff on there. So go ahead and get you a little something.
And go check out Stamps Essentials on the website. Click that tab on the website. So much to offer. We got shampoos, protein treatments, deep conditioners, leave-in conditioners, hair grease, hair growth oil, whipped shea butter for the skin, and our signature product, Stay Moist Coils hair system. It's a wash and go system, but you can also use it for your twist outs, braid outs, and perm rod sets. So go ahead and check it out.
Yep.
We out.
See y'all.